These 6 mistakes are killing your chapter 2. I know this because I've written a lot of literature reviews and I've helped people with their own literature review. And every time these mistakes keep coming up and they are very, very common. That's why I'm making this video so that you can avoid them. And mistake number 6 is using Boolean operators incorrectly. I know there are a lot of AI tools out there. For people that are searching their literatures using AI tools, it's kind of simple. You just plug in your topic and you're going to see a lot of literature that has to do with what you are studying. But if you're still doing it the traditional way, that is using maybe Google Scholar or PubMed or any other database, that means you're still using Boolean operators. Now, if you don't know how to use your Boolean operators or you don't know what they mean each time you are using each one, you are going to take a long time searching for literatures. You are going to waste your time. So you need to know how to use them, what they mean. And if you really want to do your search traditionally, I have a video on it. And also in that video, I explained what Boolean operators are and how to use them using Google Scholar for demonstration. You can check the video right here. Mistake number 5 is absence of summary and knowledge gap. Now, most people end their chapter 2 suddenly without summary, which is wrong, which is not correct. Your chapter 2 should end with the summary of the chapter. You want to summarize the key point. You want to tell us what the authors found in just a few points. You just want to highlight it, what they found, what they didn't address, and where your study fits in. Because most of the time, supervisors highlighted that if you don't do it. Mistake number 4 is having no flow between your paragraphs. Now, a common example is seeing a student placing 5 studies or 10 studies without showing how they connect. In order to have flow between your studies or between your paragraphs, you have to synthesize those studies, and also you need to use connecting sentences like this studies is in line with, this studies is parallel to, this study is in contrast with, depending on what you are comparing it with, whether the study supports what you are looking for or it does not support what you are looking for. You need to show some level of relationship between studies, between your paragraphs, and not just listing them. And mistake number 3 is using outdated sources, unreliable sources, and limited source. Now, when we talk about outdated sources, we don't want to see you citing studies that were conducted in 90s or that were published in 90s. You want to cite studies that were published within the last 10 years. Except if you're writing something that has to do with history, then you can do that, because a fresh literature makes a stronger chapter. And then also, if you're talking about limiting sources, let's say for example you are in Nigeria and you are conducting your study in Nigeria, you don't want to limit yourself to only studies that were conducted in Nigeria. You want to look at what other people have found in other parts of the world. You need that to balance your literature and to formulate your arguments very, very well. And also you want to avoid some gray literatures and blog posts. You have to use articles that are peer reviewed, except if you're writing something like scoping review, like you just want to see the literatures out there, what is just out there. That's why when searching your literature, you should stick to traditional databases like Google Scholar and the rest, or use AI platforms that are designed specifically for literature review like Consensus and Elicit. Now, mistake number 2 is writing chapter 2 like a storybook. Now, I know storybooks have chapters, but they do not have subtopics. They do not have subheadings. So if you don't want to confuse your readers when they are reading your chapter 2, you need to organize your chapter 2 and structure it so that they can have clear subheadings. So for example, when you are writing your chapter 2, and let's say the first item after your introduction is your conceptual review, so you want to make sure that your conceptual review is numbered as 2.1. Then if you have anything that you want to define under conceptual review, let's say for example nursing research, you want to make sure that it is numbered as 2.1.1. then you can then move on to your empirical review, which is going to be your 2.2, your theoretical review, which is going to be your 2.3, and then your summary of chapter 2, which is going to be your 2.4. You have to make sure that if you're defining anything or you're explaining anything under them, they should have subheadings accordingly, so that you don't confuse your reader, so that it can have a clear structure. Now, mistake number 1 is copying articles without understanding it. Now, this happens when you are reading a research paper and you see a statement that you like or a statement that you feel is related to your study. You just copy it and paste it into your research paper without any context or reasoning. And this happens mostly in your empirical review. Now, if you want to avoid this, you need to read the articles and understand them and then translate them in your own words. That's like paraphrasing them. And in order for you to understand and explain them in your own words, you need to summarize the articles. For example, when you are reading the article, you need to take notes of the authors, where the study was conducted, the population, their methodologies, and their key findings. This will help you to synthesize your literature when you are writing. Now, this is chapter 2 mistake. If you want to avoid chapter 3 mistake, feel free to watch this video right here.